welcome to Main Series Brick by Byte, brought to you in partnership with Nucleus Office Parks. This is Vandana Ramnani, and to unravel the technological revolution taking place in the real estate space, with me today is Shivam Agarwal, Vice President Strategic Growth, Satwa Group. Welcome to the show, Shivam.
Hi, Vandana. So nice to be here.
So, Shivam, tell us, how prop tech is revolutionizing the real estate space today.
I mean, I think the way I would want to take that question is tech is revolutionizing everything, right? From 10-minute grocery delivery to 10-minute food delivery now, to AI, all the scripts that I do for my own podcast, like I run it through AI, or for my content or anything, right? For our marketing, we started using AI quite a bit. So if tech is solving so many aspects of our life and we're connected to everyone at the click of a button, why has tech not penetrated so deeply into real estate? And I guess that is a question not only me, but a lot of other developers are also trying to grapple, because it does make life a lot better.
So, Shivam, you have projects across Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, and Chennai, and now even Mumbai. Yeah. So, how is it that you're trying to integrate prop tech in both your commercial as well as residential projects?
So this is a very long answer. So I'll break it up into multiple places. In commercial, say, there's lots of aspects to real estate. First is identification of a land. Then, you do the legality, do the title check, all of those things. Then you go into the approval process, then planning, and then execution, and then sales. So from the very aspect of identification of the land, there's companies who have, optimized data, like your PropTiger, Prop Equity, which gives you market data, micro market data. So, you're able to make investment opportunities, even as a developer, not only as a consumer, more thoroughly, I would say more all round, rather than just gut feeling and notion, which is kind of how it used to go. It is I'm not going to say it's all changed. Data helps, but ultimately guts is one thing that you need to do real estate no matter what. So I would say from the very beginning of identification of the land, then we ourselves have invested in this company. It's called Landdeed. It's a proptech company, which does title search for lands in India. And the founder has a very interesting story where he actually used to live in Chicago. And I think his father passed away. And in the will, he had this land that had come to him. And when he'd come to India to see the land, he'd found it was all encroached and the title was, under dispute, and there was a lot of things. So he tried to innovate and find a solution for that. And it started off as title search, and eventually it went into registrations, and now I'm sure he'll evolve it even further. But it was one of our very first, I would say, PropTech investments. And I think, we use it for a lot of our, at least legal due diligence and stuff. Then we have AI, which is coming into the legality part. So when you're looking at documents, if you're drafting, like, say, a JDA or like a land acquisition document, a lot of the clauses are pretty standard. And if you train an AI model to look at your previous contracts and how you've kind of done it in the past, it will adapt to your working style or your company ethos. And then, going forward, the amount of, say, if you had 3 people doing reading a contract, or even 1 person reading a contract for 1 week, you have an AI which will do it in 30 seconds for you, if not lesser. So I think, that part of the aspect I don't know how much we've integrated, but I think that's something that we are trying to integrate. So these are, on the approvals, kind of those parts of it. Planning, how real estate works, right? Like when you start a project, say, your BD team is involved, then it goes to licensing. From licensing, it comes to design. From design, it goes to projects. From that, it might come to marketing, and then it might go back to design. So it's a
long way.
Yeah, it's a very long flow chart and a lot of interconnected parts and interdependent parts. Like one department has to go to the next, and maybe it has to come back to the previous department. So there's a lot of communication that's required. So softwares like your BIM softwares, and then other tools, which can help visualize the flow chart of a project in a digital way through each department. I think that is something we have as a company, and maybe we can get a little bit more into detail later, but we as a company have started integrating, mainly because as our scale is growing, what systems work for 10, 12 projects or 15 projects running at a time might not work for 45, 50 projects running at a time. So we are trying to create an organization, like say we have 15, 20 projects going on right now across all cities, both commercial, residential, hospital, maybe a little bit more. But I know this number is only going to grow. And one of the biggest things that happens is you have acquired a land, and between the process of acquiring and launching it on a resi project, say, there's so much time that goes that maybe the design becomes irrelevant or the market changes and not for the better. So
licenses.
Licenses. So I guess it's very since it's so capital intensive as a business, you should be mindful of at least we are trying to be more mindful of, say, the downtime between, say, okay, we signed this MOU or we signed this JDA to launch, because every single day or every single month is interest on your capital, right? So we wanted to try and minimize that to improve the economics. Then we have softwares. I have a friend of mine. His company's name is, I think, Clancy Global. We're trying to do a pilot project with him, which takes your 2D CAD drawing and makes it into a full 3D sort of, system with all the requirements of parts and all of, say, how much piping is required, how much, T sort of fastening is required. Like, these are very technical terms when it comes to, say, actual execution. But say if you have 20, 30% wastage in that, what this Clancy Global says is that we can minimize it by a lot of amount. So for me, it is, a great opportunity. So I would look at it, if, I've tested with one project, which we are doing already, with, I think, a commercial project, or no, I think a affordable housing project, because there the amount you save makes a big difference. So if it, is effective, we'll implement it across.
Where is this coming up?
And this is coming up somewhere, I think, in Bididi. I would say building innovation, right? Like we were just discussing a little bit before this, before we started this. We have 3D printed homes. We have prefab development. We use aluminum framework for some of our buildings that minimizes time. So real estate, no matter how good my sales are, I can sell out a property in 1 month. Like I can sell 1,000, apartments in 1 month. Suppose, on a very, all the stars have aligned, everyone loves the product, and, I've sold 1,000 properties in 1,000 apartments in a month. The amount of time it takes to execute, it does take to execute, I can minimize the delay, but 1 million square feet banane mein time lagta hai. So how to, I want more technology to come. I hope eventually we are able to get to a stage where that time comes down in a safe and, qualitative way. But I think we're a little bit far away from that. Prefab is a concept. We're actually making a building in Hyderabad called Image Towers. It's supposed to be, if I'm not wrong, and you can please correct me in the stats, you can put a sort of subheading. I think it's the largest prefab structure in India. It's shaped like a T on all 4 sides, T for Telangana, and it's a PPP, public-private partnership with the government. And it's basically meant to promote gaming and animation in the state, and it looks like a sci-fi building, So it does add a lot of creative leverage. You can go a little bit beyond your traditional construction when it comes to prefab, or say steel structures. We have this in Hyderabad, again, we have this property called Knowledge Park, which is like an arc-shaped building and a round building. And it looks stunning, not because it's my building, it actually does look stunning. That has an atrium in it, which is, I think, the tallest atrium in a building, indoor atrium, in all of India. I remember I also read this, I saw this one article or one podcast with Abhishek Lodha, actually, and he had said in 2021, this is the best year in Indian residential market, and we sold 6 or 7 lakh homes. This is the worst year in China's residential market, and they sold 1.7 crore homes. That's the scale we're getting to. Technology is like is like quintessential for us to get there. Like I don't think there's any other way, and I think we are in like ourselves as Satwa, we're like in severe R&D mode, where we are, trying to implement as much as we can to make the systems as efficient as possible.
Shivam, also if you could throw some light on, use of proptech to reduce labor dependence. Yeah. Have
I
you
would
tried out any models on that front?
Not yet. I haven't come across it maybe. And, if someone sees this, Mint interview, I would love for them to reach out because that would be something I would love to explore. Because your traditional construction, takes labor, right? Like that's one of the challenges right now in India, right? Like post COVID, labor became a big challenge. One of the biggest costs of, I would say, one of the biggest things that went up in pricing or costs of real estate was labor. Besides, steel and cement are cyclical, right? Like they go up, they come down. And maybe they go up on average over a few years, but that's still manageable. But labor is something, either the availability of labor, skill labor, those are factors which I think you'd love to solve. And if someone has a solution, please do reach out. But I haven't come across something like that yet. I hope to soon.
Okay. So now the coming to your company, you have about, I think, 88 million square feet, right? In various stages of development. So what are your plans like? How much are you planning to invest and by when would these be completed? Does it comprise both residential as well as commercial?
So I would say this 88 million square feet is an ever-changing number, right? Because you're always acquiring properties like, every week, every almost every day, you're meeting a new landlord. I travel between Bangalore, Hyderabad, Bombay a lot. So you're always on the road. You're always looking out for opportunities. So this 88 million square feet is an ever-evolving number. I think, a year ago, not even a year ago, maybe 7 months ago, when we did we'd spoken similarly to a few media folk. They had asked the same thing, and that time the number was a lot smaller. That time we had said, with that number in the next 2-3 years, we should look at about a 14,000 crore odd investment into the market. I think maybe that number has slightly gone up or stayed the same. It all just depends on the launch, when you're able to launch the project. Because, going back to my earlier point, real estate happens at its pace. You can make it efficient in the processes, but your traditional construction, if you're doing that, takes its time. If you're doing steel structure, takes its own time, maybe a little lesser than traditional. Or if you're doing prefab, it takes a little lesser than steel. But it takes its time. Money that you invest into a project happens over the life cycle of the project. So it all just depends on when you're able to launch it, how quickly construction is progressing, how quickly sometimes sales are progressing. Like in residential real estate is really nice in that way on your cash flow, because you sell a vision ideally, and you sell before you sell as soon as you start construction. That's ideally what most I would say most prominent developers also do across the country.
Are you using proptech also while marketing your?
Yes, absolutely. So for marketing, we've done so many things for PropTech. What we are trying, again, piloting in different projects. So in one project, we're creating a virtual twin of the property. So basically, exactly how the property will be, there's a digital twin of it. So you can see each floor of it. You can see what's the view of it. Color of it. You can even say, you can even go to the extent, like, there was this game earlier called Sims. You could customize your house and all. So you can really customize your house. So we're making it very gamified in a way. So, you have a full idea of how it is. Apart from that, we have this company, which is one of our investments. It's called Flam. It's an visual AI company. So what it does, it helps you, like say you have an ad in a newspaper, which will come, you can have a big banner and all of those things. It'll have a QR code. You can use your phone to scan the QR code, and you'll get a virtual tour of the place through like an augmented reality tour.
Personalized.
Yeah, but through your smartphone. And a lot of people are browsing on their smartphone these days. So that's one thing we've implemented. One of the personal projects that I've been, and everyone in the team has kind of been trying to pioneer. And I think it's from our conversation, we've seen some developers do bits of it. But for us, it's the first time where we're trying to digitize the entire customer experience from discovery to handover. That's the goal. Now, how, we are attacking it at different parts of the goal. Marketing is required for some, execution is required for some, CRM is required for some, sales is required. So, different departments are required for, different bits of it. Even to the extent where, at the click of a button, you can give me a deposit and you can get probably bank financing also, because we're trying to do API, integrations with a few banks who are, willing to test this out with us. So it's an experiment. I don't know how successful it will be, but it's something which we're very excited about. Even
Which
if we
project in particular?
So we are first creating the whole software. We are implementing little bits of it at different places. So, like, say, one project we've done the virtual twin. One project we'll eventually launch the booking system, like the payment gateway and like the bank financing. One project we'll do the CRM connectivity, where all your docs can come to you, except the essential docs. You don't need to visit our office ever. Or even if you have essential docs, maybe we'll integrate a part where the guy comes to you to get the signature. A few of those are legal, so it has a legal requirement to it. So as much as we can digitize what we're trying to do, we are trying to digitize. But even to the aspect of, say, quality check, to till the time that the customer gets the property, that's the aim. And of course, have it backward integrated with our Salesforce and all of these aspects. But those are more for our hygiene and for our functioning. But from the customer side of view, maybe create a really nice discovery channel where they can, see all our properties and really pick the right one from the click of a button. I came across this other company. The name's slipping my mind. It was four letters, so it's an acronym, I'm sure. But they do virtual reality tours.
VR.
VR tours. So I honestly thought of it as an opportunity. Like, we build model apartments and marketing offices for all our projects. Some projects, if it's a smaller scale projects, you don't sometimes feel like there's a need to do it, but we end up doing it most of the times anyway. What I wanted to kind of try and drive with this, and the team's definitely been helping a lot, and they're very encouraging, is try and make a tour at home kind of concept. So we train a few of our sales guys. We're still figuring out which project to implement this, but we train a few of our sales guys to use this software, so that if, say, you're in Jayanagar in Bangalore, and this might sound, Bangalore people know the struggle, but like maybe to someone else, they might not understand the full struggle, and you want to see a property in, say, North Bangalore ahead of the airport. It's a 2-hour journey, 2.5-hour journey. On a chutti, to make that, your like day goes in the car only, pretty much, if you're lucky. You make it back in the evening, I guess. So instead of having that, and that's a missed opportunity, I feel like, a lot of times, because sometimes you're human, right? Like, you work the whole week, you're lazy, you just want to have a good day at home. You don't want to step out, drive through traffic, go to the property just to see it and then come back. So what we are trying to do, just for customer experience, and it's again a pilot idea, let's see how it goes, is have the sales guy come to you, and all you need is like maybe like a 10 by 10 space, and you walk around it, and you actually feel like how you're going to feel from outside your home in the locality. Yeah, and you can walk through your house pretty much. You can see the view again. And I've put these goggles on, and like, if you don't have someone near you, you'll crash into something. It really feels like you're in that home. Like, when we stepped into the elevator and the elevator goes up, you really feel like you're in an elevator.
So an experiential center in your own.
Yeah, in your own house, exactly like that. So imagine a model apartment at the click of a button with VR. I think that's a phenomenal. If we are able to do it, I think it should have a good amount of demand. But again, it's such a big investment for a lot of people. Like, people maybe buy one home in their life at max, to at least most of the populace. So a lot of people do want to touch and feel. But again, as consumers are changing, taste is changing, generation is getting younger. The average home buying age, I think, is 28 or something now, which is surprising.
35.
35? I read 35 before. When someone told me 28, I was like, this is way too low, because I'm almost 28 and I don't have a home.
You don't have a home.
I don't have my own home, no. But 35, that's a
Are you
super.
planning to buy one
I want to buy one in Bombay.
in Bombay?
Yeah, I want to buy one in Bombay. I've just not found the right home yet. I'm more of a, building big buildings. I think one of the things that I'm really fond of is small boutique buildings, at least when I want to live. I don't want to live in a big building. And I'm just trying to find the right home. Like, a place which doesn't feel like a house, but feels like a home. Yeah, so that would be it's on the bucket list this year.
Your advice to millennials wanting to invest in property?
I would say REITs are a good way to invest in property, primarily because if you buy a property yourself, if you're renting it out, you have to find a tenant. If you're buying commercial property, again, you have to find a tenant. You have to manage the property, you have to give good service. Kuch leaky faucet hua, you have to figure out how to solve it. Or if you know the developer has to solve it for you, in whatever space you've bought it. So it almost becomes like another job. Now, I know in home rentals, there's companies which do management for you. So you can buy a home and you can, rent it out. And eventually, I would say that is a good option in two aspects. If you eventually want to move into that home later, that's one. Or say you want a home in Bombay, but your job is in Bangalore, so you have to spend time in Bangalore, but eventually you want to go there, like in that kind of situation. Or say it's a vacation home, like say if you have like a second home in Goa or something, or it's a farmhouse or like a really experiential one. But I would say the best way, in all those situations, it would be nice to get a management company to do the stuff for you, and you can kind of have a few days a year you use it if it's a holiday home, and then the rest of the year it's actually full, because an empty house is very hard to maintain. If it's used, it's a lot better. But if you ask me, the best way to do it would be REITs, because you get a tokenized version of real estate. You get dividend cash flow every quarter, and you get a price appreciation every year on average. If a REIT you've good quality assets, it's the right REIT, it's the right management. You've contracted cash flow. So 5% or so increase. It's hard to put exact numbers to it, but your contracted cash flow, your typical lease is 5% appreciation every year. So I'm just saying on average, 5% up. You look at capital appreciation, which makes sense, and about a 6.5% dividend yield, which can go up if as vacancy improves, as you add new inventory, as rents improve. So releasing happens at a higher kind of number.
Are you suggesting that when you into your first job, this is how you should start?
Yeah, because you're not tying yourself down. Like today, say if I buy this floor, I can't buy it by the square foot. Either I have to buy half a floor or I have to buy the full floor. That's one. I can't sell by the square foot. Like, I have to sell the entire floor. I have to sell half a floor, right? So in all those aspects, I'm just saying it's the easiest way to get in. Like when you're exploring an industry, you should do it in a low stakes way, especially if you don't understand it very well or if you're new to it. Then once you learn, once you become a veteran, then you buy land. I would say that's the best way. Buy a land somewhere outside of any city, or because most cities are growing. Say in Bangalore, a little bit ahead of the airport or near that area. That area is phenomenal. Or other, spread out areas. Buy land, put a boundary wall around it. Get someone to just take care of it. And I'm telling you, there's no better investment.
That's aspiration for you.
Yeah, I think it's very, it's the one thing that you can't produce more of. Maybe I'm a little old school in my thought. And this is just primarily real estate, if you ask me, as an investment. If you want to do investments in general, I'm sure there's startups and there's funds and there's the market. So there's a lot of ways to do it. But in investment, like if I would do real estate investment, if I didn't do real estate as a business, I would do it either through REITs or I would do it through land.
Shivam, one last thing. You're also, interestingly, a yoga instructor. Now, how does that help you in your work environment? I mean, does it help you, work faster, work better? I mean, how does that help you?
I think it just makes me a more tolerable person, I would say, for everyone else. It's so crazy, right? Like we were discussing, there's 3 things that I have in life which I'm very passionate about: my fitness, my work, and my content. I really enjoy these 3 things, and I put a lot of my time into all 3 aspects. Of course, work takes 80-90% of my time, but whatever time I'm able to carve out for the other 2, I'm charges me up for the rest of the 80%.
But does that wellness quotient percolate down to your projects maybe?
No, absolutely. So on the yoga front, I got into yoga very late after college. It's not like I've done it since childhood. I graduated from college and I was working at an arts center. So I was doing marketing for them, and non-profit, and I had some free time. So I was like, I want to do yoga classes because my parents have been avid yoga followers, or been practicing yoga for very long time, maybe 15, 20 years. So it's something that my dad is the hardest working person I see, and I really see yoga benefit him a lot. I saw it benefit him a lot. He has like 100 things every day, but he's able to calmly manage and compartmentalize in his head how to tackle things. So I wanted to, kind of try it. And when I went to this studio, they were like, oh, I was going to sign up, and I saw this teacher training sort of, they had this thing that they were going to start teacher training next week. And I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to become a yoga teacher. Yeah. So I just started, and then I think in 3 months I did like some 350 hours of yoga. So it was really fun. Don't get me wrong, but at that time we had when just after college I had the time as well. But it's something I think which has really helped me act rather than react to situations. So it helps me internalize, or it gives me the patience or the ability to internalize conversations, internalize questions, internalize arguments even, right? And instead of, having that sort of knee-jerk reaction to someone telling you something which is not the way you have a tiff once in a while, right? At work or at home. I think what it does is it helps you look at yourself from a third-person perspective and really internalize that and act on that. So even for me, right, like I'm traveling, like I take almost 4 to 6 flights a week. I've been living out of suitcase for 1.5 years. So for me, I think it just keeps me energetic, right? If you don't get time for a nap, if you do a 10-minute meditation, it feels like an hour's worth of nap.
How do you instruct? Are you using proptech methods to instruct?
Honestly, I do it for fun.
Okay.
It's another hobby of mine. Like, I think doing yoga is one thing, but when you're able to give someone else the ability or teach someone else yoga, it's a whole different aspect. So far, I used to teach when I was in the US just after college. So I was teaching at a studio for about till COVID happened and I moved back. So I was teaching till then. Then for 2 years, I didn't teach. And then I think 2022, I picked it back up. I just, called 45 of my friends or 50 of my friends early morning at one of the palace ground kind of places in Bangalore. One of my friends has this place, really pretty place. So kind of set up a class, set up some healthy food and smoothies and stuff as a way of getting back into it. And then for the past year, I've been teaching a few classes on and off at Soho House in Bombay. So I just kind of do it for fun. It's more like a hobby. And I really enjoy it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Shivam. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
viewers.
much.
Thanks for watching us. Thank you.